somebody wants this feat specifically, and it
Yeah,
might be that skirmisher, ranger, or rogue, or monk,
maybe. Yeah, maybe
shadow monk.
I could also see you being specifically the rogue that goes, "How do I get my personal stealth score as high as possible?" This is
Yeah.
a way to do that.
Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we're talking about the feat Wood Elf Magic.
Uh-huh. Okay,
Perfect.
and then
That's
uh, the razzle dazzle. This is a little odd duck of a feat just because it's really close to feats that don't have prerequisites, but worse than them, and it has a prerequisite that you have to be a wood elf. So you learn the magic of the
all right.
primeval. Oh, God.
No, I was just gonna say I don't know about worse, but we'll get to it.
You learn the magic of the primeval woods, which are revered and protected by your people. You learn one druid cantrip of your choice. You also learn the Longstrider and Pass Without Trace spells, each of which you can cast once without expending a spell slot. You gain the ability to cast these two spells in this way when you finish a long rest. Wisdom is your spellcasting ability modifier for all three spells. Things this doesn't do. This doesn't add them to your class's spell list to let you spend spell slots on them. You get one use of
Yes.
Longstrider, one use of Pass Without Trace. You can use Druid cantrip as much as you want. It will always use wisdom though. So if you're like a wood elf, bard, you can't use your charisma bard spellcasting modifier for the stuff. You get a new spellcasting save DC, it's a new spellcasting attack roll. That's for the wisdom based stuff from this feat. I don't know. We can immediately compare it to Shadow Touch and Fey Touch. I think both those are way better than this, right?
Um. Well, Pass Without Trace is a second level spell, and it's a really really good one
True.
because Fey Touch is giving you Misty Step, which is also a second level spell and
Yep.
really good.
Yep.
But I guess depending,
What Shadow Touch
but
gives you?
Fey Touch also gives you an ability modifier,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is also very good. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It
Yeah,
also gives you
maybe
a
I'm
choice
putting
of first level spell. You get to
yes.
pick a first level, but you also get to
I might
cast them with spell
maybe
slots.
I'm weighing Pass Without Trace too heavily.
Yeah, if we look at like Shadow Touch, I think is even better. That one comes with invisibility,
Yeah,
and those two are very comparable. I think Pass Without Trace and invisibility.
I
I think
mean,
invisibility is
Pass
more
Without
useful.
Trace can get your whole party, stealthily somewhere.
Yeah, but you're still technically visible, and invisibility can remove sight from the equation entirely, right? It
Yeah,
just does something the Path Without Trace literally never can. No amount of stealth checks will let you walk directly in front of a guard without being seen, unless you physically can't be seen, right?
right.
That's not to say, again, Pass Without Trace isn't good. I like Pass
Yeah,
Without Trace a lot. It does a lot of great stuff for stealth missions. Again, the cooperative element is definitely a big point in its favor. I like the spell. It was one of our top spells for its school.
yeah,
Longstrider, I'm less into.
yes. Um,
Not great. It's kind of like an hour a day, you get plus 10 speed. It's kind of what this reads as, right? Because it doesn't need
mm,
concentration or anything. So you do kind of just
that's nice.
slap this down whenever you're like, oh, fight breaks out, great. Now I've got a 45 speed because what else have a 35 speed? Now you're zooming. And like what this has going over the other two in place of the ASI bump, sorry, the ability score improvement. I say ASI bump, but that's in real ability score improvement bump, but that doesn't make any sense. In place of the ability score improvement, you get a druid cantrip. And we've been over druid cantrips as not that great, specifically when we're talking about the ranger fighting style that gives you the option to get them. Like you can get guidance
Yeah,
if you
so
want.
if you don't have any druid cantrips or cleric cantrips, then guidance is a good pick.
Yeah. Is
So,
that worth a feat compared to its competition?
all right, probably
Maybe
not.
if you really want a use of Pass Without Trace, this is fine. Like if you're a Wood Elf Rogue and you're like, I don't need invisibility, we have someone in the group that has that. I want to bring something different to the table. I do think you're not that upset to reach for this, right?
Yeah, if you're a wood elf rogue, that's
Yeah. That's probably a common archetype for it, right? They get the Dex
yeah,
Whiz bump. They're doing the stealth thing. They get bonuses to hiding in foliage and stuff. That's a real character that people play. Wood Elf
yeah. And
Ranger too kind of
if you
fits the
got like
bill.
a wood elf ranger, if you got a skirmisher thing, you might appreciate the long strider as well.
Yeah, I mean, rogues double dip with cutting action, right? Because they can bonus action dash. So if you long
Yeah.
strider yourself, you can kind of get even more juice out of it than a regular character can. That's kind of neat. Wood Elf Monk, same deal. Maybe you're like a Wave Shadow Monk and you want a little bit more, not specifically invisibility, but ways of sneaking around in the dark. This is more ways to sneak around in the dark. Comes the bonus cantrip. It's not the end of the world. This is not a bad feat. I don't want
Yeah.
to make it, I definitely made it sound like it was. I think it is by comparison, but I don't think it's the end of the world to take it. I think you could take it if you like the thematics, if you like specifically Pass Without Trace a lot, and you have a druid cantrip you're really itching for.
Yeah. I mean, I think this has build potential. Somebody wants this feat specifically, and it
Yeah,
might be that skirmisher, ranger, or rogue, or monk,
maybe, yeah, maybe
shadow monk.
I could also see you being specifically the rogue that goes, how do I get my personal stealth score as high as possible? This is
Yeah,
a way to do that. It's a feat that gives you
that's
Pass
true.
Without
You know, I
Trace.
mean, it can be for the party, but it can be individual as well.
Mhm. Again, like with expertise and Pass Without Trace, you do get really silly large numbers in rogue stealth checks. So this is a way to do that on your own. Maybe
Yep,
that's what you're into.
it's kind of
It
what I'm
really,
into.
then yeah, maybe you'd consider it. It being restricted to Wood Elf, I do think is a little upsetting. I do wish this was just a feat you could take. And if I'm ever your DM, yeah, you can take this on whoever you want. This is not that strong, and I don't think the Wood Elf restriction helps the thematics or the game at all in a meaningful way. I think other people could have been raised by Wood Elves or related to the woods could figure out how to use these kinds of things. So, like, if the feat is thematically fitting for your character, go for it. Even if it's not, you just like, hey, this feat isn't that powerful, but we're at a table that's caring about build. I'm not gonna say no to you wanting this. But yeah, that's me personally. I would talk to your DM about it otherwise. All things considered, two spells, one. I mean,
3 spells.
yeah, three spells for a feat is a great exchange, and we rate Shadow Touch and Fate Touch as like some of the best feats in the game. So they probably get like fours from us or something to that effect.
Yeah.
This gets a three then, right? It's a little bit
Uh,
worse than those two because the bump is not getting the ability score improvement is very much so missing here, and not being able to
yeah.
spend spell slots on these makes them way worse on all the full casters.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, three is probably fair. Um, like I said, one of those. What level is Long Strider? Is that level one?
First level spell.
First level.
Could
Yeah,
it be a
past that,
cantrip?
you're getting one of the best second level spells in the game. That's good.
You're getting a good one. Definitely getting a
Um,
good one.
and a cantrip. We said guidance, but you might pick something else. Maybe you want a shillelagh.
Maybe you want
Maybe
Truecraft.
you might.
You don't,
I
but I
don't.
do.
Yeah. All right, 3 is fair. That's Wood Elf Magic. Anything else you got to say?
You're right that we did kind of write off the cantrips. I do think like that is another reason that you would consider this is your maybe you want to do the firebender archetype. Maybe you're a rogue that's from like a fire nation kind of deal. So you take control flames. Maybe you're in a world where you want to be the buggy, grimy ranger that's got insects all over it, and you take infestation for the flavor. I could see there being cantrips you take on specific character looks. That definitely embellishes a lot more. But not enough so that it gets out of 3 territory. But yeah, that's
All
all I
right.
got to say about it.
All right. Well, that was Wood Elf Magic. Thank you, Sam, and thank you everyone for joining us. Let us know what you think down in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.